Hey guys, it's Tom here from ProDirect Running, and in this video we're going to cut straight to the chase as we're going to be talking through some of the best carbon plated running shoes currently on the market for you and your running shoe rotation. Firstly, if you're interested in a little bit more of a deep dive into the history of carbon plated running shoes, then we've got a full video on that exact topic which you can watch by clicking somewhere around my head here. Before we get cracking, as always, if you're new around here, please do consider hitting that subscribe button and make sure to hit that bell notification as well so you don't miss any future running related uploads. Okie dokie, so we runners come in all different shapes and sizes, and luckily in this day and age, carbon plated running shoes do as well. Although there are certain trail running shoes which are starting to implement carbon plates, in this video we're going to focus specifically on the fastest footwear to help you smash your road racing PBs. First of all, it would almost be blasphemous not to kick off this video by talking about the shoe that started it all. It's the Nike Vaporfly. There have been many iterations of the Vaporfly over the years, from the early prototypes worn by the likes of Galen Rupp and Kenenisa Bekele, to the unveiling of the Vaporfly Elite worn in the iconic Breaking 2 project. Now technically in its fourth iteration, from the original 4% to the 4% Flyknit to the Vaporfly Next Percent and now the Next Percent 2, Nike have made subtle tweaks year on year, but the Vaporfly still very much remains the consensus pick for passionate recreational runners and elites. The Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2 features a full-length ZoomX midsole and carbon fiber plate for that propulsive yet soft ride loved by so many. The most notable difference to the Vaporfly Next Percent 2 definitely comes down to the upper. Nike replaced the Vaporweave on the outgoing model with a much more traditional and airy upper with a little toe bumper which adds increased volume to the toe box, making it more accommodating to different runners' foot types. We used to hear a lot of durability concerns surrounding these so-called super shoes, but honestly, if you're utilising them for their correct use case for faster long runs, for your key sessions in the lead up to races and races themselves, you can easily get a few hundred miles out of a pair. The original Adios Pro put Adidas firmly back on the map when it comes to top tier racing shoes, but the Adios Pro 2 took all of those learnings to the next level. The Adios Pro 2 utilises the brand's super secretive Lightstrike Pro midsole. Although the secret sauce will probably never be officially revealed, all you need to know is that despite being slightly denser and firmer underfoot than the ZoomX and the Vaporfly, for example, this stuff is the real deal. Rather than a full-length carbon fiber plate like all of the other shoes that we're going to talk about today, the Adios Pro 2 utilises carbon fiber infused energy rods in the forefoot, which are there to mimic the 5 metatarsals of the foot for a more anatomical ride. We also have a carbon fiber plate just in the heel of the Adios Pro 2 to aid with stability. Up top, we've got a Celamesh 2.0 upper, which, keeping it candid, is probably one of my favourite uppers out of all of the super shoes. But a top tip, make sure that your sock game is on point when you're wearing these because it is almost transparent. The outsole is actually one of the most interesting aspects of this particular shoe, and that's something that you don't say all that often. We've got a super thin, tacky rubber material which almost feels like sandpaper to the touch and resembles what you find on rock climbing shoes, with tried and tested Continental rubber at the toe off for increased traction and durability. One of my favourite aspects is the medial cutout on the Adios Pro 2, which reveals the energy rods underneath, a little bit like looking in the engine of a Lamborghini. There's a lot that I could say about this shoe, but in short, it's right at the top drawer. Now sometimes the update to a running shoe can be pretty minimal and underwhelming and leave a bit of a sour taste in the mouth. But the New Balance FuelCell RC Elite V2 is definitely not in that category. An increased 39mm of buttery soft FuelCell foam in the midsole combines with a full-length carbon fiber plate to allow even more compression when landing before entering into a super snappy toe-off. One of the factors that makes the RC Elite 2 a little bit more of a democratic option is the fit. It has a much wider base and midfoot than some of the other super shoes out there, making it more accommodating to more runners. Finished off with a healthy coverage of rubber on the outsole, the FuelCell RC Elite V2 is definitely one of the friendlier and more durable options for someone looking to pick up their first carbon plated running shoe. And best of all, it's sparkly. Unfortunately, I don't actually have the next shoe that we're going to talk about in my hands, and that is testament to both its popularity and lack of availability. But we couldn't have a list of the top carbon-plated running shoes without talking about the ASICS Metaspeed Sky. Now, I could keep this short and sweet by telling you that the Metaspeed Sky is without a doubt a top-tier contender and a rival to any other super shoe on the market. But there's a lot to unpack with this spicy little number, so let's get stuck in. I've mentioned this before, but up until recently, I feel like ASICS was stuck in a cycle of releasing consistently great running shoes, but that lacked modern day excitement. But the game has changed, and ASICS have definitely stepped up to the plate. The Japanese brand's first foray into the carbon-plated running game was with the Meta Racer, a modern take on a fairly traditional minimal racing flat with a full-length carbon fiber plate. Don't get me wrong, it is still a great shoe for short sessions on the road, track sessions and short races, but it just doesn't have that same level of cushioning and stack height that many of us crave. The Metaspeed Sky, however, features a beautiful big stack of Flight Foam Blast foam in the midsole, along with a perfectly positioned carbon fiber plate for that great balance between soft and responsive. It's definitely a more aggressive ride that really rewards you for picking up the pace, but isn't that exactly what you want in a carbon-plated racing shoe? We also have excellent traction thanks to a good amount of rubber on the outsole, which was modelled off ASICS trail shoes. Really the only bad thing about the Metaspeed Sky is how hard it is to buy. So make sure you stay tuned to our socials at ProDirect Running to be the first to know when fresh new colourways drop. The Endorphin range from Saucony took the running world by storm upon its first release. With valuable insights from Saucony elite athletes like Jared Ward, Saucony absolutely nailed a perfect formula of Power Run PB, speed roll technology and an S-curve carbon fiber plate. The Endorphin Pro 2 was mainly an upper update this time around, but with an improved fit and knockdown over its predecessor, it did nothing but enhance the overall performance of this already highly competent racing shoe. It should be known that the Endorphin Pro 2 is not the softest and bounciest shoe on this list, but once you get rolling, that speed roll technology really comes to the fore and it makes picking up your cadence feel almost effortless. The most instantly recognizable silhouette of any running shoe ever. The Nike Alphafly Next Percent definitely turned heads when it first released and had traditional running shoe fans and elite athletes not sponsored by Nike practically charging to the World Athletics headquarters with pitchforks, demanding that it be banned for competition. With a maximum legal stack of ZoomX foam in the midsole, a full-length carbon fiber fly plate and air zoom pods in the forefoot, even a couple years after its first release, the Alphafly Next Percent still represents the pinnacle of running shoe tech and innovation. Although proving slightly more polarizing than the Vaporfly, and Nike not releasing any official lab data on the Alphafly like they did with the Vaporfly 4%, third-party studies definitely go to show the efficiency gains of the Alphafly. Versatility is not necessarily its strong suit, but for those long grinding tempos, those long runs with big blocks at marathon pace, and obviously your half marathon and marathon racing, it is very difficult to look past the Alphafly. So there we have it, a selection of some of the fastest running shoes that money can buy. We runners are living in wonderful times with such a wealth of options available, and trust me, there's some even bigger things coming in the not too distant future. So let me know what your road racing shoe of choice is in the comments down below, and remember you can shop all of these carbon plated shoes and a lot more at ProDirectRunning.com.